Going back to the 2016 presidential election, the media began lecturing us about misinformation and disinformation. And now the American media has fallen for Hamas's lies. The hospital that supposedly was destroyed still stands. The 500 people dead turn out to be 50 most and more likely 10. The Greek Orthodox Church that Israel blew up turns out to still stand. The building next to it was what was targeted and hit. The Greek Orthodox Church still stands. The media, time and time again, is willing to fall for Hamas's lies because so many people within the media are progressives, deeply sympathetic to Hamas. They don't like Israel. They hate Israel. You've got a bunch of anti-Semites within the press corps. They also want to do this both sidesism. They don't want to be honest. You know who one of the bright stars in the sky is right now on this stuff? You know who Ted Lieu is? He's a very progressive member of Congress from California, really doesn't like Trump, really doesn't like the GOP, and he is blasting the New York Times. Very aggressively so. This is Ted Lieu. The New York Times editor writes, the New York Times didn't botch this. They reported the Palestinians and said it was an Israeli strike, not that it was one. When news is breaking fast, all you can do is report what the key parties are saying. Ted Lieu responds to the guy, I agree the New York Times didn't botch the Gaza hospital story. They did something worse. They intentionally wrote an attention-grabbing headline that falsely pointed the blame at Israel to generate clicks during breaking news without waiting for confirmation or actual facts. It's true. That's what they did. They even put up a picture of a building in rubble that appeared to be representative of the hospital, and it wasn't the hospital. They misled people. They misled people. You know, when the attack on Israel happened, much of the media covered it fairly and accurately. But as Israel's begun to respond, they can't bring themselves to pick a side. This is part of the moral relativism of progressive thought that has invaded the media, that they could see evil. But they've added complexity to avoid moral clarity. They keep trying to complicate the situation to avoid having to provide moral clarity. Because if they provided moral clarity, they couldn't be on any side other than the Israeli side, and progressives certainly don't want to be on the side of Israel. So they will complicate it, add complexity to it, so they can hide from the moral clarity of it. There are too many people on the left who are sympathetic to the terrorists. Abby Phillips was on CNN last night after Joe Biden's speech. Listen to this. We're not doing enough on the Palestinian issues. The Democrats are attacking Joe Biden because they're on the side of the monsters. All you have to do is go look at your local Antifa protester protesting police around the country. They're on the side of the monsters. And what they do is they take a kernel of truth. There have been times Israel has treated Palestinians badly, but they have amplified this and magnified this into Israel is trying to kill the Palestinians and the Palestinians are responding. And that's simply not true. Simply not true. Israel's in the right. They've got a right to defend themselves. The American media that has lectured us for so long, that has lectured us nonstop about misinformation and disinformation, willfully, willingly fell into it. Think of Ben Collins. Ben Collins is the lecturing dweeb from NBC News who does the misinformation, disinformation stuff. Even he has amplified the attack on the hospital. And he's refused to walk it back. A great deal of arrogance, he has refused to walk it back. He got it wrong, and he can't bring himself to acknowledge he fell for lies and propaganda. The guy who lectures the rest of us on it can't bring himself to acknowledge he fell for it. There's a level of arrogance, sort of deep level of arrogance, but there's also a level of hostility towards Jews. It's amazing to me how so much of the media, when they correct, overcorrect to a side that's always hostile to Israel. Even reports and reporters who are Jewish, who tend to be sympathetic to Israel, their news organizations, their editorial voices, their producers push them to overcompensate to be hostile to Israel. They're on the side of the bad guys, and they should be shamed for being so.